Hey guys, welcome to the fourth episode of Web3 Node Operators, a YouTube series that highlights teams running validators and other critical Web3 infrastructure. Today, I am pleased to welcome Christian from Windpowerstake. Hey Christian, how are you doing today?
Hey David, very well. Today is very nice.
How's the weather?
Yeah, very sunny, very windy.
Windy and sunny, yeah. Windpowerstake, that's good for business, I guess.
Yes.
Christian, can you give our viewers a quick overview about first who you are and then who is or what is Windpowerstake?
So my name is Christian. I run by Cree also on Discord. So and Windpowerstake. So we are a validator on. We started on Juno and starting as a side project or hobby project for validation. We started signing blocks in Juno, and more or less with Windpowerstake, we wanted to take the pan and the name of renewable energy. So I'm myself a worker from the wind sector, and yeah, say take this as a side project. We wanted to make the point that renewables, and at the point that we are with crypto and proof of stake, we can be green or even power our equipment with renewables. And yeah, that's what we are focusing on.
Who is we?
So as the team,
Mhm. How many people do you have? Where are you located? Just a little bit background about who you are.
exactly, we go for locations. So we are two, so mostly myself and one member that has partial time putting on the project and putting servers. And we use three locations. We are based in northern Germany, as per myself, and also my help comes also from Spain. And so two persons, two physical locations, and yeah, the locations of our equipment, they are, so let's say, northern Germany for some of the servers, co-location in one data center for the rest of the computers. And in Spain, what we have, it's fiber optics, old infrastructure that we used as an old business. So we got business fiber connection. Now it's not used anymore as a business, but we put the servers over this fiber optics. So we got good connectivity, and it's quite isolated from or decentralized. The only
Mhm.
thing that we need to take care of is maybe downtimes of the net or the electricity. But apart from that, so it's quite good because it's an independent fiber optics provider. So quite fast also, one gigabit.
Yeah, this is quite fast. Christian, how did you end up running validators for the Cosmos ecosystem? You said you work at Wind Power. What's the connection there? How did you end up here?
How did it's circumstantial, right? So the opening point, I think it's I always tell this, the opening point is when Juno opened to 125 validators. Now it's 150. At some point, Juno launched in October, if I'm not wrong, October 2021, and they launched with 100 validators, and we took a big stake there, and we are quite sort of believers of that Cosmos ecosystem needs a layer one for smart contracts. So we took a big stake also there on Juno, and yeah, at some point it opened from 100 to 125, and I said, I'll give it a try. So I started with one node, also at home before smart contracts implementation, and yeah, now I have a whole infrastructure. But we started at 100, I think 10, and then we tried to survive, and yeah, we survived at the Valset.
Yeah, that's a nice story to hear.
Yes, Chihuahua came, so we got into Chihuahua, and yeah, we got more nodes and servers running.
So Juno and Chihuahua, where do you have validators elsewhere?
Yes, so Juno first, Chihuahua second, then we got into Nomic, uh, active set, then Atmos, then Kerberos,
Yeah.
then that's a bad one. No, but I need to speak well of Kerberos. We can speak later about Kerberos as well.
Let's do this, yeah.
Then Territory, then Jackal, and then all the testnet. So in Juno testnet, actually our first launch was Juno testnet, which was Uni 1 testnet. Now it's by Uni 5.
Mhm.
And also we got Chihuahua testnet we're running, Kerberos testnet we're running, Atmos testnet we're running, and Nomic testnet we're running as well. I don't know if I'm always forgetting one chain, but more or less you can imagine. So
Mhm.
very little validator at the moment, but it's good.
I'd argue this is a medium-sized validators. Obviously, you got the very large ones like Stakefish and Cosmos Station, but there are also much smaller validators than you are, with only one or two validators. So I'd place you in the middle somewhere.
Hmm.
Initially, in your introduction, you mentioned different data centers, and running your own hardware and validators at home. So I want to go back to that topic again, bare metal or cloud, and why?
That's a very good question as well. So we are doing all bare metal also to make our point. I share you a link as well. So to make our point, what we wanted to do is to measure the power consumption of our equipment, and then we got these power plugs. So we own each computer, so we don't use any cloud provider or also rented. Yeah, exactly, rented computers. We don't have any. Why? Because we would not have any control of the consumptions, and so we wanted to furnish every computer with a power plug, so we know what we are consuming. I send you a link, and we can share
Mhm.
later also on the YouTube of
Yeah.
our energy consumptions on each node that we have a power plug. And more or less, we know how much does the Juno node consume, or the Chihuahua, or the Kerberos, or the Territory, or the Rebus. Rebus was the. We are also validating Rebus. So we can measure all the consumption. So we can say, look, this is not so much, and we can be green with proof of stake, right? So we are not hashing so intensely as through work, and that's what having our own equipment allows us to do. So we can in our data center collocation, we can put the power plugs and measure with all calm how much is our consumption. And also in the business fiber, it's a physical location, and home is also a physical location. We can also put the material servers we want. The other advantage of having your own equipment and bare metal validators, or why you want bare metal validators, is that we are making lower the risk of any external factor. So say that a cloud computer provider, I don't put any name, wants to take down the network, and they can actually almost do it, right? Because if most of the validators, they are running in the same network, so you have a one single point of failure. And yeah, maybe it does not happen too much if it's just a downtime. So downtime, or they are not so critical, or power loss, so you can recover, right? But imagine that maybe they say they would not provide this service to the crypto community, or there's some incident, then you got most of your validators in this data center, and maybe yeah, you cannot recover. So that's the risk we are taking for having all the validators in the same data center, right? So that there's no a possibility that we don't recover and even, well, uptime is quite crucial in some of the networks. So also by being decentralized in locations, we are contributing and not having less downtimes, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, you mentioned a couple of very interesting things. I'd like to go with the energy consumption. So running validators, you monitor them, obviously. So you have a lot of insight into consumption of hardware resources like CPU, memory, network traffic, all these metrics. But I've never heard of someone managing or measuring energy consumption. That's very interesting. Can you talk a little bit about that? What are your findings there?
Yeah. So first of all, some of the servers of the industrial servers, they are providing so they are providing you the energy consumption automatically. So that's nice. But in general, when you rent from a cloud service provider or you rent your own equipment, then you get only insight of the traffic and CPU, RAM, etc. So that's not normally a thing that cloud service provider or rented equipment provider gives you. How we do it right now is with the use of power plugs. So we just connect to these power plugs and check the consumption at the moment it's very low resolution, but we connect and check how much is consuming. And the findings, they are more or less that, yeah, as you can imagine, power consumption is related directly to the CPU usage. So even for and the CPU power, right? So if you got a CPU that goes high frequency, so the more gigahertz, the more power consumption. So that's the reveal, right?
Yeah.
So we got and the more active cores they are, also the more power consumption. So more cores, more gigahertz will give you higher power consumption.
Which networks are particularly resource intense?
So in power, I'm hanging around my measurements right now in the web page I sent you. So for example, one of our winners, it's the Atmos data. Atmos, for example, was quite resource intensive because of the 2-second block time. And in general, Atmos is one that if you don't get enough RAM, then it may crash. So you want to have more than 32 gigs at least, sometimes 64 for Atmos. Yeah, and so we put Atmos in a good server with 2 processors, similar to your to your install in Juno, with many cores and so on, just to be robust and to cope with Atmos. That's why it's one of the biggest consumptions. But if I go to Juno, I need to check if one Juno-like computer can cope also with Atmos. In Juno, we got a bit less RAM consumption, and also the power consumption is a bit lower. But also we have less. This processor has less cores, and it's just one CPU, while Atmos is 2 CPUs, same server. So yeah, in general, I cannot gauge still what's the minimum power we can run normally a network, but it's close between what I got in Juno, which is 1 CPU can cope with Juno and it does not miss any blocks, around 60 watts energy, so like an old light bulb. And Atmos, it's 110, which is, or 120 maybe max. It's lower, So it's double, right? So with Atmos, but yeah, because we have two CPUs there, so two bulbs, two light bulbs.
I just need to repeat that one. And I think I'm gonna put this in the tweet when I announce this video. Juno can run on an old light bulb. I like that. That's pretty cool. I haven't heard that before. That's quite an interesting contribution, especially in the light of green energy and the current proposals by Regen Network with carbon credits. So that's a quite relevant and hot topic what you're doing. That's really interesting. And I will definitely put the link to your data and your GitHub in the description of this video, so people can check this out. So that's very cool. I want to talk about another thing that drains a lot of energy, not electrical energy that you can measure, but mental energy, which is Cosmos on-chain governance.
Drama.
Drama.
We
Kristen,
need to vote all the Kujiras thingies.
yeah, it's like 25 proposals up there, right? It's happy voting. Anyways, what's your thoughts on Cosmos governance in general?
Yeah, that's a good question. So Cosmos governance, we need to live with it. So it's also we need to live with drama per second in Cosmos. it's it's a good governance, I think. So it's a democracy, as I spoke with some of our colleagues. It's not a consensus, as sometimes some people say or use the word consensus, because Tendermint or our mechanism for running the blocks are called consensus based, but actually governance, it's a democracy, right? So you can discuss stuff in Commonwealth, and that's very positive, because the more it gets discussed in Commonwealth, the more it approaches to consensus. But still, one thing is the discussion in Commonwealth, and then another thing is putting it on chain. When it gets on chain, then the party starts, because it's the voting moment, and then it's all run by a democracy. So the one that has more votes is the one that wins, or the proposal that has more votes is the one that wins or passes, right? And we need to take it as a pass or not pass thing. So if you got a good proposal, and for example, the most debated community spent proposals, and you got a project to do, and you ask for the money, if it passes, then you need to execute with the payment terms, and so on. So it's a matter of passing or not passing, right? So you get the votes and you pass. But yeah, so in general, I think this is a positive thing, and not a chain is doing governance as we are doing, uh, and having all the users participating. So this is something unique about the Cosmos ecosystem. We need to embrace it, right?
I totally agree. I think due to the decentralized nature of Cosmos with so many different contributors that are not united behind a single company that gives direction, but there are so many participants independent that just have their own vision, own idea, and move in different directions. I think that's one of the greatest strengths of the Cosmos ecosystem, because it has a very diverse set of ideas and innovation. It's also one of its biggest weaknesses, because there is no Cosmos business developer team officially, or there's no company like Ethereum Foundation that just moves in a single direction. But it's nevertheless a very robust and decentralized network of blockchains. So I think it's a feature, not a bug. So I think it's very interesting.
I also feel quite comfortable when I need to play the part of the contrarian, right?
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes we already see all the no votes, and maybe we vote a yes, we put a reason, and yeah, at the moment, yeah, we felt happy about presenting a different opinion sometimes. And yeah, it was friendly. All the discussion we got. For example, yeah, I have seen the EBMOS proposals. They were a bit strange, but anyways, we voted differently in some of them. And also the carbon credits proposal, we voted yes also. So we have seen big no's as well. But anyways, I felt like everything could be discussed, and they were a feature, not a bug, right? Taking your words.
Agreed. Agreed. Is there anything, Christian, that if you had the power to change anything in Cosmos governance, would you change something?
I would put a yes with veto option.
Yes with veto. What's yes with veto?
Yes, is that you want the proposal to pass, but
Yeah.
still you want to punish the proposer. That's a very troll. I'm trolling you right now.
Yeah, I feel like there might be, I'm just thinking about maybe there is something, maybe for a really obnoxious team that just sets up the same proposal 3 times. Maybe just, yeah, no, get it passed, but you get punishment for annoying me that much. I like that. Oh, that's a good one, Christian. I like it.
We need that. We need a chain for that. Another chain.
Yeah, with changes to the governance module. Yeah, honestly, it opens up the fun space. It could be some cool things coming out of this. But let's move over to the next topic here. A lot of validators, they not only validate, they not only run the infrastructure, they provide additional contributions to the ecosystem. So I'd like to give you the opportunity to say, to all of our listeners, what else are you doing to bring forward the ecosystem? And just as a starter, you mentioned measurement of energy consumption, and so let's go from there.
Yeah. So with 20 cents, measure the energy consumption. That's our main contribution, let's say, to make this point. And we'll continue doing it. So I want to do it better. I want to measure a bit more of the things that are running in my computers. I'm worried about NVMe writing consumption. So two resources we use in Cosmos. One, energy is little and it's just a point. So we write a lot, and I'm worried of hard drive consumption. So we'll measure that as well, terabytes written, mostly because in Cosmos we use databases that run over the hard drive a lot, but that's still not doing that. So that's a thing for the future. We write a lot, and SSDs and flash memories and NVMe's, they are solid state. The flow they have is that you cannot write many times over the same cell or bit, or I don't know.
Yeah.
So at some point they will be failing, and I want to measure that, because the faster the block goes, so the more you are damaging your drive, and at some point, so we are discarding drives and changing them for new. That nothing happens, but it's just equipment that is consumed by the blockchain. So we want to measure that as part of our hardware measurement. And apart from that, contributions we got. So we are right now busy in trying to put up Kerberos back online with IBC, and this is something from our point of view needs to be done, because at some point with Dragonberry, we got this Dragonberry back, and Kerberos was late to the party, so we had to halt and apply the patch. We took more than 1 week, but after that, IBC connections expired, and thing is, the software version cannot handle revivals of IBC. So I'm still putting on a testnet and checking if we can get a binary that does this and then upgrade the network. So that's something that needs to be done. And unfortunately, in Kerberos, there's no development team unless we as validators or validators/developers take over and do these modifications to the binary. So we are acting as a changing the code of one of the chains and updating it. And that's a contribution, because at least so we are digging into the code of one of the L1s from Cosmos, and we are maintaining it, putting it up to date. So right now, the Dragonberry bug it has been corrected in Kerberos. So first of all with the patch, and then we updated already with the right Cosmos SDK version. So right now, Kerberos is running more or less up to date Cosmos SDK. So as updated as Chihuahua actually. And yeah, so we are contributing there by being sort of contributing to the code of one of the Cosmos chains. And more than that, yeah, testnets. And because we have the equipment, we are running archive nodes for archive nodes. They are quite heavy.
Yes.
But yeah, so since it's our own equipment, so we can do it, spending the money. So Atmos, for example, takes more than 4 teras of NVMe hard drive for maintaining a hard drive. So an archive there. And Juno, we got also the archive node. Also for Chihuahua, we got stopped in the upgrade to put online. We are maintaining an archive there in Chihuahua, and then in Kerberos we are maintaining an archive, also in Territory and in Rebus, that I remember. Also in Jackal. In Jackal we have also an archive. So most of the chains we have an archive also.
That's quite impressive for such a small team. So I just want to highlight here that running archive nodes, that's something a lot of validators shy away from, because it's a lot of work and it costs a lot. But nevertheless, it's a necessary. It's totally necessary. So it sounds like for such a small team, you're quite dedicated. I really like that. Christian, our interview is slowly coming to an end. Is there anything you want to talk about with, or say to the viewers?
Well, apart from delegating, if you want to decentralize the stake on the network to lower positions, so we'll work more or less to have redundancies and our nodes as up to date as we can, and try not to get uptimes, but also safety in our operations. So yeah, I don't know if we are covering all the topics, David, that you wanted to cover.
I covered all my topics. Yeah, I think it was a very interesting discussion with you today. I'd like to thank you for the insights on energy consumption. I think that's a very interesting topic, and I make sure to check it out. I hope everybody who watches this video at least clicks on the link. I'll post down in the description and takes a look there. So yeah, Christian, I'd like to thank you for this talk today.
Yes.
And yeah, wish you the best for the future.
Thank you, David.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Have a good one. Thanks for having us. Bye-bye.